So let's go live. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this fourth live session on our current affairs and geography for preliminary 2021. I'm waiting for you all to join and then we can start our conversation. So give me a hello in message box so that I know that you can hear me and you can see me clearly. So welcome to this live session with geoecologists, the fourth one in the series, and I hope you're preparing well. So all the best wishes to all the aspirants. And so this is the fourth one in the current affairs in physical geography first. So today we are going to look into the ocean aspect, that how world ocean and Indian Ocean have been in news, what are the important features that we could learn from there. So if you can hear me, just give me a message in the box, chat box, and then we can start. Good evening to all. Welcome to this live session again. So let me see if more people are joining and then we can start in another minute or so. So let's see. All right, so what we are going to do is we are going to learn about the oceans first today. So first thing that we do before we go into the oceans and related news and topics related to that in current affairs in last 1 year, first thing that we are going to do is this one. That is our sustainable development goals. Now SDGs are very important, and SDGs can be part of any question that you can understand from any environmental perspective, ocean perspective. So just a brief about this. First is no poverty, second is zero hunger, third is good health and well-being, fourth is education, quality education, fifth is gender equality, sixth is clean water and sanitation, very important portion here. Right, then you have affordable and clean energy. So energy sector also very important here. We are talking about sustainable development. So we are talking about the non-conventional sources of energy now, and decent work and economic growth, industry and innovation infrastructure, then reduced inequalities, and so equity and equality debate is also going on around. Then what we find is sustainable cities. So related to urban geography, here we are in 11th goal. Then what we have here is good evening Mukesh, thank you for joining live. And responsible consumption and production is the 12th one. Then you have climate action, that is 13th one, and then 14th one is life below water. Now here is what we are going to discuss today, oceans. Right, so we are going to talk about 14 sustainable development goals in today's topic, and then we have life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, and partnership for the goals. Now what you need to do is, please, if you are going for any competitive exam, not just for UPSC, you should be aware about sustainable development goals now. Right, very important, it should be in your fingertips. So do practice and remember them by number, that goal number 6 talks about what, goal number 14 talks about what. Right, so it's very important to understand that you should know these sustainable development goals. Right, so that's why I started with it. Now we are going to goal number 14 today's discussion. So we're talking about oceans. Essentially we are talking about water, life underwater, and many other features today. So I think more people have joined in now, and then we can start. So the first thing that was in news and is going to be in news for times to come as well is going to be the microplastics in the ocean that is being deposited year after the year. Right, so 2021 many people also say has been denoted as the year of microplastic as well. Right, so this is important, that these microplastics which are formed from plastic trash, as we know, and it is in the ocean that it keeps breaking into smaller fragments, going from the bigger chunks to smaller and smaller and to the nanoparticles because of sun's rays and also ocean waves that are there. So it keeps breaking. Now it's very important that microplastic depositions are hugely impacting the world. Now it is hugely impacting the world. What becomes really important here is that we should able to track them and we should have plans for it. So 8 million tons plastic trash enters the ocean every year. That's an average value that has been calculated world around. Right, and the term microplastic was introduced in 2004 itself by Professor Richard Thompson. Right, he was a marine biologist at University of Plymouth in UK. So he introduced this term. That is an important point to remember here. Now why this was in news? Because ECHA, European Union Chemicals Agency, published a proposal saying that there should be wide restriction on these microplastics around the world, right? And basically EU-wide ban must be there on microbeads, microplastics, nanoplastics, and essentially these are coming from which products? Cosmetics, sanitary products, paints, pesticides, detergents, and sports pitches. So this is where they wanted to ban this, at least in European Union. That's why it was part of the news here. Now going to one more thing is CYGNSS, which is Cyclone Global Navigation Satellite System. And you must have heard this in terms of monitoring of cyclone by NASA. But it is not just hurricane strength or cyclone strength which is measured by this, but it's also important here that the team of NASA is looking for places where ocean were smoother than expected. It means the texture is being taken up by this satellite. So it means where the ocean is smooth, it means it's stable, and where you have more indicators as presence of microplastic. So that could be one thing, mapping of ocean. Now related to this is the second topic, that is called Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Now this is really important in terms of ocean. Again, coming to the Pacific Ocean, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch here that we see, this is important. As you can see, this one and this one, Western Garbage Patch and Eastern Garbage Patch. This is California, right? And this is Kuroshio near Japan. So, and in between, subtropical convergence zone also has some plastics. So this is something which is interesting, that you have ocean gyres, and it's the entire hub of this deposition of garbage, huge garbage patches in ocean, right? So the gyre is divided into two areas, basically Eastern Garbage Patch between Hawaii and California. So that's important. And the second one is Western Garbage Patch, which is eastward from Japan to the Hawaiian Islands. So this is important. And also third thing that is related to the same is Ocean Cleanup Project. Now Ocean Cleanup Project is a non-profit engineering environmental organization based in Netherlands, and it has developed technologies to extract the plastic pollution from ocean, and it was founded in 2013 by Boyan Salt, right? So this is important, as this is for cleanup of those same microplastics. In middle of 2021 that we see, now the new design called System 002, also known by this common name as Jenny. So Jenny was deployed in Great Pacific Garbage Patch for testing. That's how it takes news in 2021 and becomes really important. And also there is a project Cassie, and this is related to this scientific and commercial mission to study this cleanup project as well in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, right? And there are estimations that it's not just Pacific which has these garbage patches, but also Indian Ocean and North and South Atlantic gyres as well, right? So the entire plastic concentration is in these movement of ocean water. So this is what it is relevant. Now the corals under stress. Corals are part of, common part of news in Indian Ocean as well and in the world oceans, right? So due to variations in ocean acidity, so ocean acidification is one of the topic. If ocean related question you have to study, do not forget to study about ocean acidification, right? Because it has larger implications on life underwater, sustainable development goal number 14. So why it was in news? Observe here, right? The gist of the news is here: climate control. Scientists seek to understand the present, future impacts of ocean acidification in Indian Ocean region specifically, right? In the Lakshadweep Islands, basically they have studied this portion. And high resolution records of long-term pH. The pH value is being studied long-term. That's very important. And utilization of a very interesting thing, that is boron isotope ratio, which is used to reconstruct the past pH values. So this is important here, that National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, NCPOR, that is in Goa, and Chennai and Indian Institute, this Anna University Chennai, and Indian Institute of Science, that is in Bangalore, right? So they are doing this study using boron isotopes, and for the first time this is that Indian researchers used coral records from Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep is one of the major coral reef that we know, to reconstruct the past ocean acidification trends in Indian Ocean. That's how it caught news. And in this study, scientists discovered what? Very interesting finding. You can see that physical oceanographic process. Remember, we have talked about ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation, that controls the surface pH variability. So El Nino is associated to pH changes. So as climate scientists predict an increase in ENSO events and following future global warming scenarios, the short-term rapid pH variability is definitely going to happen, and pH extremes are going to happen, right? So this is going to hamper the coral's life as well. Already coral is under stress, that we already know. So this was part of the news. Then comes the dead zone in Bay of Bengal, which was in news in 2016 as well, and now also it's in news. So this area, if you observe this entire 60,000 kilometer square area here in Bay of Bengal, this patch, this is oxygen minimum zone, OMZ, this area, right? And there are many OMZs in the world. This is one of them in Bay of Bengal, which we are concerned here in India. And this zone is also called hypoxia zone. It means there is very low oxygen, or that level of oxygen where nothing can sustain, right? So that is important. And this oxygen minimum zone in the world is named in Eastern Tropical Pacific Ocean and Arabian Sea as well. So it's not just that it is here, but it's also there in other places. So Arabian Sea, OMZ, that we say, oxygen minimum zone, contributes 20% of global ocean denitrification as well, right? So that's really important. And there is a phenomena called coastal hypoxia. With this hypoxia, it's not that just dead zones have this hypoxia, that is lack of oxygen, but also coastal areas many times have been found with this same thing in the western coast as well as eastern coast. And what is this? It is that water with little oxygen is there on the coast. So what happens on Indian shelf, many times you see dead animals and dead fishes also there floating near the coast, right? So that is one of the reason. Now comes to this sixth one, that is 52% rise in the frequency of cyclones in Arabian Sea. Now this is under news because the earlier ratio, if you remember this map of India here, this Bay of Bengal used to be 4 and this used to be 1. The ratio was 4:1 for cyclones. Now this ratio is changing. So what we have found in research here, that 52% increase was noticed in the frequency of cyclones over Arabian Sea between 2001 to 2019. And 8% decrease over Bay of Bengal. That's important to understand, that Bay of Bengal cyclone frequency is now gradually reducing, right? So Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, that is IITM, under this Ministry of Earth Sciences, this works on it, and new studies keep coming. So they are saying that there may be connections related to climate crisis, ocean acidification, pH changes and all. So this is happening because of 3 major reasons that they have given. One is increase in ocean thermal energy, that is insolation changes and heat changes in the ocean. Then enhanced mid-tropospheric moisture content, that is also important here, that moisture content also changes with the same. And reduced vertical wind shear. Now wind shear, which is wind movement, vertical wind movement compared to the past over Arabian Sea, it means evaporation and precipitation ratios are changing. It means salinity is changing, and when salinity and density of ocean water is changing because of these factors, this will lead to aggravation in terms of frequency of cyclones. So that's what is happening. That is in research right now. These are the probable things, or you can say that these are the probable reasons being given now. Now comes this table which you can observe for analysis. This is year, this is Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal and North Indian Ocean total. So these are cyclone totals. So what you observe, Arabian Sea had 0, Bay of Bengal 4, 2017 1 and 2, 18 3 and 4, 19 5 and 3. See, in 2019 the ratio changes here completely from Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, and 2020 it's balanced 2 2. And in June also, here till 2021 you see the data 1 1. It means this is the area where we are talking that it is of concern, right? That's important. So highest loss of lives occurred during cyclones. This Tauktae cyclone that we see, 118, Amphan, that was 98, and also Titli and Neelam are famous for loss of lives, if we say, that is in the report that we say, right? Now, International Quiet Ocean Experiment, if you know about this, IQOE, this is very interesting because it talks about ocean soundscapes. Remember, it's not about landscapes but soundscapes. It means how the sound travels in ocean and how it affects the marine organisms. For this project has been launched, and it is designated this year 2020 as International Year of Quiet Ocean. Why? Because it was year where worldwide lockdown was there. So ocean vibrations were very less. So that's important. And Scientific Committee on Ocean Research, that is SCORE, and Partnership for Observation of Global Ocean, that is POGO. So SCORE and POGO together funds this Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, and they make this program, which is important because of one reason, that is how this soundscape, the ocean sounds, the vibrations that we produce because of various activities and natural as well as anthropogenic activities, is changing and impacting the marine life. That is important here. So Ocean acoustics is the branch where this is being studied. Now, what is this ocean acoustics? Acoustics is the branch that studies sound, right? It's the branch of physics. So we're talking about ocean acoustics, that refers to the sound, which is its behavior in water. So how vibrations travel, with sound waves travel like ripples, right? That's important. So important is these three words here. Components of this is geophony, biophony, and anthrophony. So geophony is sound created by non-biological, that is, the word is geo itself, so earthquakes, waves, and other factors. Biophony created by ocean's living creatures, right? Biotic component. And anthrophony by anthropogenic human activities. So this has three-part ocean acoustics, which is being under this surveillance, under this study. Then, if you really want to locate the map, the concentration of these hydrophones, which are the equipments for capturing these vibrations and energy, oceans, right? The sound energy. This is largely located on the western coast of Europe, that you observe in Western Europe, and a huge concentration on east and both west coast of US, right? Apart from that, you have some in Japan and some here in Southeast Asia, right? One in Indian Ocean observed here, one in Australia. So others are located at few places, but the major concentration is this, and this, three major concentrated areas where this is being studied, and animal tagging is also being done, that which animal is being affected. Right, so hydrophones is what is important here. Now, Second World Ocean Assessment Report came. When? 22nd April, that is Earth Day, about 21st April it came. So what is it important? Why this is under concern? Because of the same goal number 14 that we started with. So UN produced this report, that is Second World Ocean Assessment Report, and this report has few points to remember, from which a multiple choice question can easily be made. That human activities continue to degrade in the ocean, illegal unreported fishing is happening, and climate change is happening, unsustainable fishing is happening, atmospheric pollution is leading to ocean acidification and also eutrophication, algal bloom has been observed across Atlantic and also Pacific and Indian Ocean as well. Then you find hazardous substances like plastics and microplastics and nanoplastics. This is part of the report. It talks about the concern and anthropogenic noise. Here is the ocean acoustic study that we are talking about. So this is also part of this, right? Ill-managed coastal development, extraction of natural resources, ocean mining is something which has also become important. And if you have not watched the videos on oceanography, you can go there and also look into how we have made laws. So in UN clause, we talk about what are the rights and how they are, what are the rules, what is International Seabed Authority. So ISA, International Seabed Authority, is taking care of that, how mining will be done. So a general failure has been observed in terms of management of the usage of coasts. So these are the things that were important here. Now the ninth one is your Great Barrier Reef, Australia, very famous, right? 1200 miles long. Now this under World Heritage Committee of UNESCO, it came as World Heritage Site, as we know, but now it is being under threat of extinction of corals and so many other things. So the reef is going to vanish and it is degrading. So now it is being on the verge of putting into this list called World Heritage in Danger list. This is another list, so many observations are being taken up by scientists, and the Great Barrier Reef is facing problems because of so many reasons. Climate change, obviously it is one of the reasons, rising sea temperatures, ocean acidification, then severe weather extremes, coastal development like port development, and so many things are happening. Mining is happening, aquaculture, agriculture, coastal agriculture, things are changing. And also obviously there is a problem at the animal, right? The sea mammals and animals which are affected. So phytoplanktons and zooplanktons which are affected. So the crown of thorns starfish, a natural predator of the corals, has been huge issue as well. So that's important. And other two in the list till now, which is part of this list that we observe as World Heritage in Danger, is also these two, Iranian city of Bam and Bamia Valley, that is in Afghanistan. So these are already on the list. So this is going to be third in the list. And the last one is this 10th fact, that is chunk of an ancient supercontinent discovered under New Zealand. Now if you have watched the news, Zealandia it's called, that this new supercontinent, or you can say, has been discussed and discovered. It was in discussion since 1995 itself, but then it was lots of criticism were going on. Now it has been pronounced with the evidences, right? So this Zealandia, if you observe, this is the area, right? This area is Zealandia near Australia. So this is supposed to be one of the supercontinents that has been discussed. And you have Bruce Lyndike. He is the scientist who coined this Zealandia term. And important here is something which is this, that the realm of New Zealand that you see today, one is the North Island and one is the South Island. Apart from this, there are things which are drowned underwater. So total they make Zealandia, not just the present New Zealand but other islands and some others like Antipode Islands, Auckland Islands, Bounty Islands, Campbell Islands, right? But one island which is under control of New Zealand is not part of this Zealandia, is Kermadec Island, right? So that's an exception and it could be put as a question that is important here, right? So this is for today's session on physical geography. In the next session, we'll be talking now on human geography. So physical geography, the first 4 sessions that I have done is all about related to geomorphology, climatology, environmental geography, oceanography. All these have been discussed in terms of current affairs, which are the most important ones that I could select. Now, in the next session, that is session number 5, we'll be starting with human geography topics relevant in current affairs in last 1.5 years. So for this PDF that you have seen right now, you can join my Telegram channel, that is the Geoecologist on Telegram, you can find. And for any live updates that I do on Instagram, you can join me on day-to-day updates and facts that I keep sharing on Instagram. So for that, you can join me by the same name, the Geoecologist on Instagram, right? So you can follow me there. So that's all for the session today, and thank you so much all of you for joining me live on the session, and I wish you all the best. So see you in the next session, session 5, where we start the human geography topics for current affairs. So keep sharing these videos to other groups. All the best wishes to all the aspirants, and take care, stay safe, bye bye.